1. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, contrary to popular belief, things can get worse and not all innovation is good. I have a question. We're all pretty much smart, we're in debate, we're cool people. Have you ever had a dumb, shitty groupmate in your life, in school? I think the answer is absolutely yes. All of those people in university who are there but might not necessarily be the most educated or might not necessarily be the most motivated are literally going to have the same say as your professors and other people who are supposed to be guiding the publishing process. Ladies and gentlemen, most particular individuals in the university who actually make particular work, sure, they're educated, they have the money, they have the means, motivation, and capacity to be able to be there. But we have to understand these people are still students who are in the formative years of their career in terms of literally still being able to learn and understand. That is to say, the percentage of people, especially in Ivy Leagues and in the upper echelons, are the minority rather than the rule who actually are motivated to actually publish particular material as a consequence of doing their master's or their dissertation in their postgraduate. The harm, ladies and gentlemen, in some institutions, which is the majority of cases when you're actually doing a master's or dissertation, it's actually a requirement for you to actually try and go and publish your particular material if you want to be able to graduate. The harm here is that you create a diploma mill wherein all of these people who want to be able to get clout because they're a professor who wants to get a promotion or they're a student who wants to be able to tick that requirement so they can graduate, now become using this very system as a means to be able to spam their particular material, wherein they use this as a means to be able to try and graduate, and they rush the process. The comparative, what we're saying is that it takes long for a reason, and it's particularly important that we actually don't rush into things. The thought experiment I have is that the entire process becomes this centralized, really big Google document where everyone can see everything, comment, and type. It's a classic case, no, of sounds good doesn't work because we think speed is different from accuracy. We're very much willing to be able to trade off speed if that means being able to particularly do it well. What is the counterfactual and comparative of side opposition, particularly OO? Number one, we support the status quo of peer-reviewed journals and all of the other mechanisms which to a large extent, yes, gatekeep the publishing process because I don't think anybody, just because they're educated or in uni, should have the same say to be able to publish and spread ideologies. We have to understand books are embodiments of ideologies which are carried and spread throughout society. That is to say, smart individuals who are locked in, who in some cases can be full of themselves, in some cases can get influenced by the levers of politics in the Overton window, wherein they may be hardcore conservative and hardcore liberal, to influence the particular theories that they're able to do, to be able to forward their own agenda. We think the fact that on the comparative, when you have professors, the people teaching you, the people giving you your degree, as the ones who are able to discuss and understand and tell you that you're wrong or your application of theory is actually wrong because just because you go to school doesn't mean you should have the same say in terms of publishing material. The biggest harm on side proposition is the blind leading the blind. But in instances where sure, let's say they're able to do it particularly well, we think it's just too risky for what I said in my pre-oration, that those individuals who are able to do it well and are actually locked in, doing it with the right motivation and actual intent are the minority rather than the rule. We have other metrics in status quo, things like JIFs or journal impact factors, which are a way to be able to rank within the peer review. Because guys, not all journals are equal. Has anybody here done a research paper, a dissertation, a thesis? I did that before. And they say, don't cram your RRL. The research or review of related literature, in fact, is exactly being able to swim through the corpus of all of this information. You particularly make it harder to do your RRL, wherein literally everyone gets a say, and that can potentially be dangerous because I'm going to flip the principle and say, you're able to do it, sure, fast, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be accurate. You might even go farther away from theory, which can actually wreck your capacity to truly be able to understand. What are people likely to do? Let's try and vibe check. A, people might not review at all because it lulls them into this idea, my classmate, yung matalino, siya na lang, I'll listen and watch na lang. You forward these cults of personality, wherein in that sphere wherein you're doing it, only those who are vocal are going to be able to be there, and others are just spectators. B, you get useless discourse and infighting. They say that, it's cool, people get to discuss. But take a look at debate, for instance, to be honest. This is a cool sport, but how many people really are able to be like, yeah, bruh, I changed my idea, you were wrong. No, people are gonna bitch, and they're gonna do all that like armchair lecturing and stuff, asserting that they're right, and the biggest harm is that, see, there's no arbitrator or judge. How are you gonna be able to decide how to move on with the next revision? That ties back to my comparative of these particular professors and individuals having a formalized process because they've done it themselves. We have to ask the question, what is this really for? It's simply, all of the point of publication is to be able to build upon the existing stream of knowledge because we all stand on the shoulders of giants. Meaning, if you're doing a postgraduate master's degree, you're trying to understand how that stream works and be able to find what strand you want to lock into. But when you're a PhD student or professor writing a dissertation, you're trying to create new particular strands. That ties back to my idea of garbage in, garbage out, because the biggest threat that can happen, and I'm being charitable, in instances where they do it well, we don't want to run the risk of mediocrity, wherein you cloak the entire publishing process as an illusion of discourse, ladies and gentlemen, wherein literally this particular institution gets cooked. It becomes Reddit, guys, wherein everyone's saying everything, and it's particularly unclear what you're going to do, how you're going to move forward with theory, and who particularly is right. There's too much risk. It opens up cults of personality, and we think this does more harm than good. We don't want to support it. We are very proud to stand on side negative. Thank you.